chickens, and a great way to come back from a tape segment. This is the
Everybody
last
loves chickens.
of EB Expo 2012, and I think one of the ones that everyone's been most excited to see. I know we've had a lot of conversations here at the booth and with people.
Most definitely, yeah.
A lot of people want to see some Assassin's Creed 3. So we've got Julien and Philippe, and they're going to chat us through Assassin's Creed 3. It's not going to be a very structured one. It's not going to be too much of us. Really, we want to make this about you guys asking the questions of the series creators. So we're going to take some questions from the live studio audience here. We're going to throw some stuff in the mix. And we're going to have the Twitch and Twitter chat as well. So tweet us at the GSEBX hashtag, or leave us a comment on the Twitch feed and we'll follow along.
And if you're just live hanging around our booth, please come up and ask some questions. We do have the Assassin's Creed 3 guys here.
We do.
That can answer some questions for you if you have any about the game.
And as a little incentive, we're also giving away some Turtle Beach headsets to the best questions. So
that's right.
Don't try and stump the guys, but
can we get some?
Okay, so yeah, if you do have a question in the live audience, just come up to the side here with Laura.
Okay. So line them up and we'll go from there.
Okay. Let's start with, you guys are obviously here at the show, showing off some Assassin's Creed 3. What have you been showing the crowds?
So on the booth, you can see one of our exotic location demos, which is the Fort Wolcott demo. So it's sort of like our new response to the Wolfman lairs or the Templar lairs from the previous games. We've been showing on stage like a sort of like hosh-posh mix and match demo of like one part Frontier, one part boss and fort attack, one part naval combat, and the other one which is like a developer version of the Fort Wolcott demo.
Yeah, because basically we've been showcasing the game to journalists in the past few weeks now, and we thought it would be cool for this crowd just to get some highlights of that demo and just present it to the public that's here at the EB Expo today.
And what's your reaction been like?
I mean,
very good.
Yeah. People were cheering, like they were clapping when Fizz was killing those bears, and yeah, the response was really, really cool, in fact.
I actually went to the presentation you guys did on Friday, and people were being bloodthirsty. They wanted you to kill bears. There were like 2 bears there, and they were yelling for its blood.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like we really wanted to be to have like an interactive demo of some sort just to showcase the scope of the game, and the crowd really got into it, so we were pretty happy.
Okay. And I think we have some questions from the live audience now. Yeah.
Swans.
So the question was, what makes this assassin different from the previous one? So the character. Yeah.
To start with the Native American heritage. So it's not something like in the past, like we've always had a European background. And in this case, it's like Native American, like the original people of the Americas. So it's a slightly different approach to culture, society. Societal structures are completely different than what we can see in Europe, and everything that comes with that. So just like the feral nature of Connor, his fighting style, his way of moving throughout the frontier, and just his perception on society as well. Like when he gets exposed to European culture, like it's sort of like it's a different way of seeing that.
In terms of, maybe I can just add, in terms of his personal motivations, Altair was driven by duty. He was a warrior monk. Ezio was more driven by personal revenge, like the Borgias killed his family and he wants revenge. And Connor this time around is more around justice, so he's really a defender of the people. He's not doing it for himself, but really for his Native American nation. So we felt it would be pretty different and interesting to have this sort of edge on the character.
Okay.
What can we expect from like NPCs, like interaction-wise?
So what can we expect from NPCs interaction-wise?
Yeah, like compared to different games.
Well, this is something like, as far as the crowd life goes, is something that we really put a lot of effort on. We it's something like on the team that we wanted to solve. Like the buzzwords were trying to solve the zombie-like feeling of the NPCs. So we just wanted to make that living, breathing world, the tag from the beginning of the series, to be like truer and greater than it was in the past. So we actually did spend a lot of time on making like NPC, like their animations like more believable. We have like on the homestead, like people who actually have like a form of schedule where they have like morning routine, midday routine, and night routine. So you can act like it gives a better impression of their day-to-day lives.
They also going to give you missions as well, so we wanted to have like all the sides missions of the game to be given by some NPCs that will approach you from the crowd. So to have this sort of really to break the wall around the character and make it really interact more with the crowd this time around.
Okay, right, we've got a question from the Twitch chat, and Manny60 wants to know, will Assassin's Creed 3 elaborate on Subject 16 and Lucy?
If Subject 16 will be elaborated on in AC3?
And Lucy, yes.
And what?
And Lucy.
And Lucy? No, like we tried to close that door as much as we could on Revelations, seeing as, I mean, the game gets bigger and bigger, right? Like, it's as you create these things, you're just creating legacy and game lore, and we didn't want to end up like in the Lost route where like it's just like so many doors that are open that even by the end of the series, you didn't really know like what the origin of most of this stuff was or what the answers were. So we tried to close the Subject 16 door down on ACR, and there is a little bit more explanation about Lucy in AC3, but we're trying to close those doors down.
Okay. A quick question on that for you. What's the balancing act between closing doors and opening new ones to leave yourself enough room for, I'm not going to ask you about where the series is going, but what is the balancing act of leaving yourself enough material for if you want to proceed with the series in the future?
I mean, it's just like we don't have like sheer numbers in a sense. We sort of play test the narrative amongst ourselves, where we just like constantly tell the story amongst the team, right? So we have brainstorm meetings, and we try and like for instance, like when we had the mission blueprint, like on a daily basis, we have to retell the story of what we developed in the like the day before. So we're just constantly mulling it over, and if we see people's hesitations, you know, like in their face, they're like, huh, or can you explain that again? That's like a tell in a sense where like, okay, or maybe our story is too convoluted or too complicated. So it's just constantly being aware of that, making sure that if for us it's too complicated, there's no way that it's going to end up on the street and people are going to get to it. We have like a saying like that we've had since AC2 where if your game needs a developer commentary, you've sort of failed in the storyline of your game.
We got plenty of questions on Twitch,
They
so
are
go
coming
ahead.
thick and fast. There's questions about the Wii U version, whether it will be playable entirely on the gamepad.
The Wii U version is the same exact experience as the other consoles, and we'll also make use of the new Wii U controller, so expanded map directly on the controller, the weapon wheel, so for a more seamless experience. But in terms of game content and in terms of experience, it's exactly the same.
So, sir, can you elaborate a bit more? Like, what will you be able to see on the gamepad, and how does it work in the game?
Basically, well, the Wii U controller has a screen on it, a touch screen, so we're just making full use of it. So we have basically every time you would interact with a menu in the game, it's on the controller directly. So example, you're fighting, instead of popping up your weapon wheel and pausing the fight in a certain way, you can change your weapon directly on the controller. Same goes from the map. It's actually an expanded map, so you can see more of the world, but without opening up the menu and like using your custom markers and on to get around in the world.
So is the HUD cleaner then? Like for example, the version that we're seeing now, would like the map and the elements on the right be on the gamepad?
It's the same exact HUD. It's just like the sort of the secondary menus, if you want. So the weapon wheels, the map that are actually on the controller.
It's basically the back menu. Like if we could press back right now, like it would be just like the high level map where you have like the weapon wheel on one side and the tool wheel on the other. And so you could basically like touch your interface to sort of select and go deeper into the map out of it, select your weapons and things like that.
Okay.
All right, do we have another live question?
Are there any more live questions? Remember, if you want to ask a question, just please go up to the side of the stage here where Laura is, and feel free to ask a question. But
And I'm not saying you have to ask questions, but these Turtle Beach headsets aren't going to win
that's
themselves.
right. Yeah. Do we have?
Yeah, maybe it's a little incentivization.
Okay.
More questions from the chat. There's the inevitable, will Assassin's Creed 3 be better on the PlayStation 3 or the 360?
I think this time around it's pretty well balanced. Like it's the same across the board. Like it comes down to what controller you prefer, which I think is always like. I mean,
what console do you own?
yeah, that's a big. That is also that. Yeah, we were like we're living in developer heaven where like we just like everybody has every console. Obviously, come on. But yeah.
from a development point of view, is the implementation of any of the tech any different on the different
I mean,
platforms?
we've been working with these two platforms for years now, and for us it's pretty seamless. It's pretty much a given that we're building the games on these two platforms, and the engine is basically supporting both platforms fairly seamlessly. So for us, this time around, it was like just a breeze, just to make the game available on these platforms.
Are you guys as game makers like really looking forward to the next generation coming in? Like, have you sort of like maxed out what you can do, you think, with the current generation?
I mean, like as a gamer, I'm obviously looking forwards to next generation.
Yeah.
As a developer, I'm looking forwards to and dreading it at the same time.
Yeah.
Like looking forwards to because like it's just like it's almost a mystery box even for us where we don't really know what it's going to be able to do, and then the challenges that will arise from it, like what bringing challenges to ourselves, like on a design level, like what can we make with these new consoles, and then dreading it, seeing as like AC is already like really big. We're pushing the limits of the game, like huge teams, and like I'm like for me personally, it's just like will teams get so big that we basically need to have like a government to run them.
Don't you have that in the Canadian team at all?
And it's also like to see this generation. We saw like games on Facebook, games on mobile devices, and all these new platforms that are coming up. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the industry evolves, basically, because there's so many platforms, and for us as creators, it's just different mediums to build games on. So it's just fun to see how it's gonna all unfold in the end.
Okay.
Another question from the chat. Pete Davis 3 wants to know what type of customization will be in the game, and will they be able to customize Connor's look and weapons? And what about the Assassin's recruits? Will they be customizable as well?
So we have customization pretty much like across the board. So you have customization of your ship, customization of your outfit, and you get to choose like what loadout obviously you want to go out into. So like by buying your different weapons, you can pick and choose like what weapons you want to go out and fight. And even like your fight style is sort of like because now we can duel, you can decide I'm going to go out with like my tomahawk and a pistol, or tomahawk and a bow, or like sword and a rope dart, you know, like, so it really is like what's your play style and go with it.
Another question, they're coming thick and fast. Pipboy20 wants to know if Liberation and Assassin's Creed 3 will have some form of connectivity between the two.
There is some sort of narrative relationship between the two games. So basically because they fall upon like the same time range, so it was a too good opportunity to pass. But to really find out where that range, how the game are crossing over, you'll have to play them to find out. We don't want to give any spoilers, obviously.
I actually have a quick question about naval battles. It's one of the big new things that you're introducing. Like, how big a part of it is of the overall game?
For me, naval battle could like. There are many games on the market now that are about the size that the content of our naval battle represents. So I would say like it's in a sense a game of its own, even though it's folded into the hugeness that is AC3.
The main narrative as well.
Yeah, we have some of it folded into the main narrative. We have an entire narrative track for like a Templar target that you need to hunt down, and then we also have like skirmish modes that you can go and battle it out on the open seas with different gameplay modes.
Okay.
What else we got here? There's a question from Red Swan 13 about whether you ever considered open world multiplayer.
I mean, it's for the multiplayer. We introduced it in Brotherhood, and we tried to when we do something, we like to do it well, right? So this time around, our big thing was really the naval battles. Like, it was this big ocean simulator that we built. And we felt that was our breakthrough, if we want, for the game. And on top of it, introducing a new character in the single player and all this new era. So we just have to choose our battles, basically. So in terms of multiplayer, it's an evolution of the multiplayer with new maps, new characters. And we felt that was enough inside of the whole package that is Assassin's Creed 3.
There's a question about whether, from Nils Applebaum, whether the main missions will be more cinematic in AC3 than they were in previous games.
we got the missions director. So
I would say like the narrative, if I can permit myself, is stronger than in ACB. I think like we have a stronger guiding narrative in there. We wanted to make sure that it was like easier to follow, and like there's always a clear goal. And then as far as like the balance between like cinematics and gameplay, I think we tried to strike a pretty good balance of mixing both. Our cinematic quality, or like the delivery of it, is much better quality than in the past. Like we really upped it up this time around. Like we got some new tech like that to have like a more realism in the body language of our characters, the facial expressions as well. So I think the story comes across as really, really well acted this time around.
And I think we're getting pretty good also at surprising the player as he's playing a mission this time around. We actually improved the whole mission system if you want to support different pacing. So you might start a mission thinking you're doing something and then it branches off in something entirely different. So for me, that's sort of a pacing that you would find like in a more cinematic environment. So you have twists and turns and surprises as you play a mission. So you're basically making your own little movie. So yeah, that was pretty exciting.
We have a question from the audience.
Just quickly, is there going to be naval battles in the multiplayer, or is there any chance of that coming?
I guess it ties in with the other question that we got about the open world multiplayer. So right now the focus was to make the best single player experience possible, and obviously it's a question that comes up a lot, and it's something that we actually thought about it, but it was a matter in the end of, well, first let's try to make a good single player experience like we did for Assassin's Creed before introducing some multiplayer, and we'll see after how it goes, but the focus is single player for now.
Another question from the chat there, 76 wants to know, will there be glyphs in this game that include a conspiracy element, because one of their favorite things about the series is learning about conspiracies throughout history.
So glyphs per se, as they were done, like we didn't redo that one because it was very tied into the Subject 16 story. We do have elements of conspiracy that are still there. We have like a huge underground explorable networks in both Boston and New York that sort of have a conspiracy thread associated to them.
Puzzles as well, this puzzle feeling.
Yeah, so like what we loved about that stuff is still present in the underlying structure.
Okay, we have another question from the live audience.
Hi, one of the interesting things about the previous Assassin's Creeds have been the involvement of Desmond in the storyline. How is he involved that you can reveal in this installment?
So how is Desmond involved
How
in
is
the
Desmond
storyline?
involved in this one?
So from the very beginning of the project, like for me, it was a really important part to deal with. In a sense, like I wanted to spend more time with Desmond than we did before. Just basically based on the fact that he's been sitting in a chair for the longest time, and he's probably just getting a little bit cramped and fat.
Yeah. Stretch those legs a bit.
Yeah, just get some exercise. So yeah, I wanted to bring him out and actually, move him forwards and get his potential out there, because he's being trained or groomed to be like the perfect assassin. So I mean, it's time to actually show a part of that.
Building up to that story in a way.
Exactly. So we do move forwards on Desmond's storyline this time around. Like there's progression in the character, and we do spend a little bit more time with him than we did before.
We have a question from Pipboy20 who wants to know, are there any features you wanted to include but couldn't, and if so, why?
Any features we wanted to include, but we couldn't?
It's on I guess the cutting room floor content.
Wow.
That's a good question.
Very good question. I guess that there are a lot of features that we wanted to have, but
yeah, in all honesty, I mean, we've had features since AC1 on this board, because AC1 started out as like we didn't know what the consoles were going to be, because this is like the turn of the current console generation. Like it was coming around when we were developing AC1. So we had no idea what it was going to be, and we just like we made like this meta. It was huge. It was the biggest game. I would say back then AC1 was probably as big as AC3 is without an engine and without knowing what we were able to do. So we ended up with just a huge board that has cardboard, like notepads in a sense that are just up there, like different features that we want to have. And obviously, I think like we got maybe 5%, 10% of those. And ever since AC1, we've just been taking features off that board and putting them into like the current AC. So even to this day, we're still like that board still has some cards on it that we haven't done. But I mean, we always try and cram them in.
Yeah, just to give you an example, the new animations of Connor are powered by a new animation system, if you want, and that system was in the works and in the mind of like the lead engineer that actually built the Prince, Altair, and Ezio. So all the stuff that you see in there are like part of this grocery list of features that he wanted to have, and that he finally got the chance to, like he just had to get there, and we had to make a few games to actually get there. So yeah, we just keep having those ideas, and we keep lists, and so there's always stuff that that we put aside, and we say, well, let's not work on this one. We just have to choose our battles, basically. But yeah,
Does the list keep on growing, or actually getting through that board?
We always add stuff. Like on my side, on the mission side, I have a document running since AC2, which I called the 101 gameplay ideas. And this is a document I come up with every time I start a project. I bring that list up, and like these are the mission types or different mission combinations that we thought of, or scenarios. And we just like I take some off the list in a sense when we put them in the game, but we also add some to it when we don't have a chance to do it. And at this point, like it's more around like 1,561 idea, and then it was 101. So the document just keeps growing.
Yeah, just there were some features as well that we are either crossed off naturally because of the setting or the character, or that just get added to the list because we have to do it because the character demands it. So we talked about, for example, the bow and arrow that is just it's kind of a cliche, but like the Native Americans actually use them for real. So we said, oh, okay, well that's the perfect opportunity to have a game with like bow and arrows in it, and it's something that we played with the famous crossbow for a while, and then just having bows and arrows in the game was very natural. But so sometimes just having these changing eras just helps us to get features off that list as well.
We have a question from the audience.
I was wondering, will Connor's story be stretched out like Ezio's in a few games, or will it be all in one game?
Well, I missed that
So
entire
the question
question.
was, will Connor's story be over several games like Ezio's was, or will he just be on one game?
It's hard to tell at this point. Like, really what we tried to craft on AC3 is the creation, the origin story of Connor. So in a sense, like, it depends on people's reception of it. If people vote by buying the game, then I think that's like proof of their like that they like the character. And then maybe we'll see from then on, like, if we create more. But we really focused on creating a solid, believable character, and that is as likable as Ezio or Altair.
Okay. And another one from the audience.
Hey guys, with the basic game mechanics, with the change in the storyline and the setting, with things like archery and training, how much else have you had to change about the basic bits of the game for this?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
How much about the basic game has changed with the new storyline? How much have you had to change about the game mechanics?
So how much of the basic game have you had to change in the evolution of
So for AC3, we had a couple major changes. We redid the entire behavior of the assassin, climbing, free running. Like, there's a necessity that came with trees and just the wilderness, basically climbing cliffs. So we needed to change all that, as well as fight. The entire fight system had to change because of the era, where it's basically based on range combat. The fight system from previous games was based on medieval warfare, so it was much more melee oriented. So we had to shift that completely, and at the same time, we took the opportunity to sort of game the fight system a little bit better, so you have more control over it. I personally find it easier to actually look better at fighting than it was in the past. We found in the past that it was easy for developers to play if you got trained at how to fight it. but like people who didn't know, weren't trained properly, like they had a little bit more trouble. Well, it's now like we see with the demos that are on stage, anybody who picks it up like very quickly, like about like 5 to 10 minutes, they're fighting like a developer fights, you know. So I find that it's a pretty good improvement.
There's also the opportunity to streamline the controls a little bit, to just general improvements to like how the combat feels in the gamepad directly, or even how the navigation feels. So it was just having this new character was just an opportunity to rework on like the low-level systems, but also make sure that it translates directly in more fun while you're playing the game with the actual pad. And yeah, basically that was the whole. It was both an opportunity and a necessity at the same time.
Switch wants to know, will Assassin's Creed 3 continue to have fun pokes at other games?
Fun pokes at other games?
Fun pokes.
Have we ever had a fun poke? People take pokes at us. I don't remember. What pokes have we had in the past?
There are no specifics here.
Oh.
So they picked up something, obviously, right? Yeah, okay.
I mean,
so you've never gone out of
I
nowhere.
remember like we've had like mission titles that were slight pokes. We tried to take the higher road in the sense this time around. Like we feel confident in the game that we made, and like I don't think that we need to poke at other games. Like I play other games. I love what pretty much everybody makes, and so I wouldn't feel comfortable actually in making fun of other games, not on camera or in the game at least.
The universe, the AC universe is getting pretty big now, so we got like our own universe to poke basically, so we can make references to like comic books, and there are some in the game actually. So we can just have this. We have this whole universe to use and tap into, and just make sure that everything is coherent, and we're doing some fan service basically. So if you read the books, for example, there might be some references in the game for you to find.
What's specific here? They're calling out the It's a Me Mario.
Right. Yeah, that was a good one.
Oh yeah. Well, we don't have Italians anymore in the game.
We didn't really do it this time. As Julien said, we mainly poked fun of ourselves because like we have so many games now. Like we have Legacy that we're allowed to make fun of our own selves in a sense. Like the Assassin's outfit, we poke fun at, for instance. You know.
Guys, it's the last question, unfortunately, but Manny 60 Cent wants to know, how will Connor track animals?
How will he track animals? So basically, we have like a hunting interface. So when you go into the back menu, everything is separated up into hunting regions. So it's sort of like a stamp collecting book in a sense, where you know like the different areas and you need to collect the different stamps that go in the different areas. And basically what it comes down to is like each area has like this area has bears, foxes, and deer running around in it. This one will have bobcats and raccoons, for instance. And when like, the actual mechanics is just like walking into the area, you can discover them by just like roaming around and trying to find them out. You can go into Eagle Vision and see like clues, which are basically like tracking posts. So it's like you can imagine like a tree stump that bears go up to and rub their backs on. So by interacting with the thing, well, it sort of will make like a bear appear nearby, or you can like bait a bear in an area or put a snare, and if you go further away, when you come back, then there will be animals caught in the snare. So different mechanics like that.
In terms of gameplay around the character, I mean, you have obviously the trees, you have lower bushes that you can use to stalk and then to track your prey. And what's cool about it is that this whole hunting loop, if you want, just built on the actual stealth that we have in the game, and improve the stealth to use with like enemies inside cities and other elements we have in the game. So we basically use the hunting as the foundation of the stealth in the game, which makes it better, I guess, or certainly fresher. So.
Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us on the couch. Guys, put your hands together for Philippe and Julien on Assassin's Creed 3.
Thank you very much.